How you doing and stuff?
Ooh, this tastes beautiful. It's,
There we go.
huh?
Okay. How was your day? I can't hear you.
Quiet day. How was yours?
Wishman, stop messing me. She's making my she's making my computer ding. Okay, sorry. Um,
I had a quiet day. How was your day?
what did you ask me?
I said I had a quiet day. How was your day?
It was good. It went quick, which was nice considering we had yesterday off. Holidays are always nice to be off, but I always dread going back in because it's like a
Yeah.
mess
Yep.
from being out. But today was dope though. It wasn't bad. I got through it. It could have been worse, right?
Same.
I am going over here to my Facebook page and check out the live chat. So I got to talk about three things super quick because they're funny to me. The first one is on Saturday, my friend had us over to her house for craft day. Girl, I ain't done that in forever. So it was so much fun. It was the best time I've had in forever. So one of the girls brought shrinky dinks to craft day. Do you know what shrinky dinks are? Okay, I'm about to show you. Shrinky dinks. Now remember, I'm 48. I was born in 77. Okay. Shrinky dinks were these little pieces of plastic that you could draw on, or back in the day, they came with already drawn on designs on them. Okay. And then you would take a colored or a colored pencil, not even a marker, just a colored pencil, and you would color it in, and your mom would put it in the oven, and it would shrink. Okay, so here's what the paper looks like. Okay, this is what shrinky dink paper looks like. It's like, can you hear it? It's like a hard plastic kind of. So you draw a picture on it. Okay, so a quarter of this paper, if you can imagine a quarter of this page shrunk down. I'm about to show you. It's so cute. This is a little tiny version of the Hulk. Look, can you see how tiny it is?
Oh my gosh. Yes.
And the light is really
Version of Hulk.
tell really well.
Can you see how the light is really?
But it's like super detailed.
Yes.
It's hysterical. It's hysterical. I have made several because my friend was nice enough to give us some. And I was like, oh my God. So I came home on Saturday, and that is what my grown self did all night on Saturday was draw shrinky dinks. And freaking, I used my heating gun to heat them and shrink them, which worked really well. Um, I made some key rings, but they're in my car. I put them on my chandelier, and then I made this one. I made for my boyfriend, but I accidentally broke it, and then I tried to fix it, but then he broke it, so I had to do another one. And then I made him another keychain, and then I made myself one. Um, and it's hysterical, and you just left. So while we're waiting for her to come back. So the second thing that is super funny is I drink frappes all the time. Some my friend Ginger got me hooked to them years ago because I get headaches and you get brain freeze and it takes your headaches away. It's perfect. And then that just became the excuse for me every time I got a headache to eat one or drink one.
I'm back.
Okay, girl. So I was
Hey.
second thing is so I have been misspeaking about something. I can't say the name of it because we're, on a YouTube stream, but I'm gonna put a clip of it because I have been misspeaking. I drink frappes all the time. Okay. We've had this conversation, right? So one day I was on the road, I was to Michigan. Okay. On my way back, I stopped and I tried to get a frappe. I got a frappe. And I made a comment about needing the caffeine. And the dude at the window told me there was no caffeine in them, right? So I'm like, so we just been drinking milkshakes. So I've told a handful of people that, right? So I've been wanting to mention that on here for a minute, but I kept forgetting. I remembered to write it down, then I'm like, you know what? I better fact check this before I say something. So fact checked it. Megan, wrong. There is indeed caffeine. So my bad.
Now that you mention it, I mean, we
There's
can't.
an
I know we can be addicted to sugar, but still, it had to be some caffeine in there.
well, see, the dude told me that it was a um coffee flavored syrup because I said, wait a minute, it tastes like coffee. That doesn't make any sense to me. And he said it's a coffee flavored syrup, and I said, oh, okay, whatever. I don't know, and I just let it go. But this is what it says. It does have caffeine in it because it has a coffee based extract in it, and then it breaks down the level
Um,
of caffeine per size. So if you get a small, you're getting less than a normal cup of coffee. You'd have to get a medium for the caffeine to matter. Not that I
so
should
then
be
you might
drinking those. How I feel justified.
hilarious. Because
All
at
right,
first
so
I was
yes,
like, well, I guess I should stop drinking them too, since it ain't no caffeine in it. But I
I
think the
mean,
ones at Dunkin' Donuts, the frozen coffees, they don't. If you don't ask for espresso, they don't have it
I
in
can't.
there.
Their stuff is way too sweet. Like it's too sweet for me.
The
And
frozen
I'm not trying to
stuff.
be work up by where I live. Girl, they don't have no teeth at the drive-through, so it's like, yeah, you guys are all a bunch of meth heads, and this shit tastes sugary as hell. Can you go by the recipe and not what you like? You know what I'm saying? So I don't go there anymore.
Oh, okay.
Saying, um, and then the third thing I said the third thing while I held up two fingers. The third thing, another thing that was funnier when I was at my friend's doing the craft party. I found out I'm not the only one that does this, so now I really want to talk about it. I want to know if anybody else, and Megan's in the group, she's chat, so I know she's gonna say yes, but have you got wrapped up yet in one of those stupid reels on Facebook that's like the animated stories or the stories, and you watch it for a second and you'll get like 10, 15 minutes in, and then all of a sudden it just stops and it says if you want to view more you have to purchase the app or you have to like pay the subscription.
It's those with the movies where they show like you right as soon as they get to the part where you about to see what happens, like they get they lick back. You
Yeah,
gotta buy so I downloaded it and you don't get what
I
you think you're gonna
do
get. You
too.
don't get what you think you're gonna get.
That's what I told Megan and them. I said you literally get like the last 5 minutes,
You don't and
and once you
or the
and
ending is never what you expected it
just
to
choose that
be.
one.
Yeah. And the ending is never what you expected it to be.
No, it's always something
Mm-mm.
stupid, and it's that's the only good story out of the 50 that are on there. And it's like,
Yep.
oh,
Yep.
I did see one though. I'm not gonna front. I didn't pay for it, but Tay Diggs is on it, and he's supposed to be like a retired R&B singer or whatever. And his best friend's daughter comes to stay with him, but she like wants to lose her virginity to him.
Oh wow.
So I was like, I might pay the 9.99 for that one, but I've
Oh,
already paid the 9.99 for the week, so now I know that it's just 10 minutes more than what I've already seen.
okay.
You know what I mean? So
So
what's the point?
right now, um, I just read a book that I've been wanting to read for the longest time called The Housemaid by Frida McFadden, I think her last name is.
Okay,
Yo, that book is amazing. It's a nice, it has a nice twist, and it is basically it's about this lady who decided to hire a housekeeper, a live-in housekeeper. She has
okay,
a really nice huge house, husband and one kid.
okay,
And she gets in and she goes and she acts as if like she's crazy.
okay,
Well, come to find out, she's not crazy. And so when the lady comes in, she's like, "Oh, here's a tour of the house. The house is beautiful, it has a theater room." And she says, "You're living in?" She says, "Yeah." And she says, "Your room is up here." And she takes her upstairs to the attic. And her
okay.
room is a small hole in the wall attic. And it locks from the outside. And she would not give her the key.
I'm not going in there then.
Well, she did it. She did it for a while. And when I say that book, I'm gonna just tell you because there's so many different. I'm gonna tell you the book. I'm gonna tell you about it because I think they're gonna turn it into a movie if they haven't already. But
Okay.
she plays crazy. She does all kinds of crazy stuff, and um, the husband comes and he's like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry my wife treats you like this. I don't know what's gotten it. I don't understand." Long story short,
The housemaid girl.
did they make a movie of that?
Yes, I'm sorry. I'm over here having a whole crackhead moment. Yes, it's on Amazon because I paid for it. It's so good.
Is it?
Yes, it's
I
such
gotta
a good
watch it
movie.
because I just read the book and I was like, what?
Oh, I bet the book was good because I books are always better than the movies. So I bet the book was fantastic.
Okay, yeah, that book was. I was like, I read it in 2 days, so
Nice.
that's
Oh
how good it
yeah, I know
was.
it was good. Then how many pages was it?
Oh, it was thick. It was like two something. Yeah, it
Okay,
was like two something. And so I went and got two more of the book of her books. So I'm probably gonna
nice.
be. I read them over the holiday, so I'm probably gonna. I hope I'll be up all night trying to read them, but I probably will.
Have you
It
ever
was so
read
good. Who?
Girl on the Train?
No. Who's that by?
I watched, or a good book. I mean, it's a good movie too. But I read the book before I watched the movie, and it's a really good movie. Um, I don't remember the girl's name that acts in it. She's the girl. She's the English chick from The Devil Wears Prada.
Okay. Oh,
The
okay.
main assistant. Yeah, she's a main character in it. But it's a really good movie though. But the book is excellent, and it's a short read. It's, you know what I'm saying. It's a 2 day book. It's a 2 day reader. So it's super easy to read. But it was a good book
Okay.
though. If
Okay.
you like short reads, you know what I mean.
All right. All right. Who in with us today? Who hanging out with us today on Facebook?
So far I see Megan. Yeah,
Hey
Megan.
Megan.
But
Hey
I think
Megan.
she might have. I think I'm not sure if she's still on there though. I know we
Okay.
have a YouTube viewer, but I can't ever tell who the YouTube viewer is. I don't
Hey
know who it is.
YouTube. Hey,
I have
YouTube.
the chat open, but I'm not sure who it is. Um, so I figured out how to put the little thing right here so that if people wanted to see it while we were doing the show that they could. Um, there's the all of the ones that go deeper into what we'll have time to cover. I put that on the website. So if anybody wants to go onto Facebook, then you can go through them deeper and when you guys have time or whatever. Um, so for this one, we're going back to the Change with the Change series where we're moving with purpose, and this is our fifth show. Whoop whoop. And
Woo!
and then
Show
this
number
is,
5.
yes, ma'am. And this is our third series or third episode in this series. So if you haven't watched the other two episodes, you don't have to, but we talk about um going to the point where trying to decide if we need to go further, change up something, maybe something different. Um and then the second one was about if, or the first one, and then we talked about if you wanted to, which way you could go. And the second, we talked about moving into soft mode from survival mode. So this episode, we're going to talk about once you're into soft mode, and it's okay if you're not there yet. Um, and we can go back and forth from soft mode to survival mode. It happens. But this just is, we're just going to talk about once you're in soft mode, maybe how to recognize you're in soft mode and what to do moving forward. Um, so I posted the first one up, Crystal, and if you wanted to, we could just go through these one at a time, and then I have that other one that I sent you that we can go through.
Okay. All right.
So I
Hold on 1 second. Let me get out of that. What? Huh? Downstairs. Bye. Give me my book. Yo, the kid,
it is what it is, dude.
the the kid wants to watch Squid Games. Uh,
How old is your daughter?
7.
No, I don't think so.
So,
I don't know. I don't
so,
see you watch that.
so I've heard people talk about like, hey, Squid Games, and so I never got around to it. And I asked my niece about it. I was like, so what is this Squid Games? And so she explained it to me, and I was like, now why would I want to sit and watch that, right?
I mean, the
So
first one was dope, but I wouldn't let my kid.
last night I'm doing her hair, and I said, listen, we can watch a movie while I do your hair. She's like, okay. I'm gonna pick. I'm like, all right. So she picked. She's like, we're gonna watch Squid Games. So I said, okay, well, let me see what this is about because I've heard. So let me just see for myself. The first game they played was green light, red light.
Yeah. I watched it when it first came out, so it's been a minute, so I don't remember everything, but I remember that it was not suitable for kids. Like, it was very graphic.
And I was like, who approved this to be on TV? Like, who approved this to be?
Oh,
like,
the the younger generation is desensitized to this because it's very anime-ish, game-ish. So they've already been playing the video games, they've already been watching the anime, they've already been reading the manga, the people that follow that, because my kids do, and and I do too. So I wasn't surprised at it at all because I watched of the Korean stuff on Netflix, and it's all like that. It's very graphic and overdone and very dramatized. Or not, it's not a word. Dramatized. You know what the heck I'm trying to say. It's extra.
I just was like, "Mm,
You said,
I,
yeah,
I couldn't believe it. I was like, okay. Soft life. So here's the deal with soft life, right? If you've never been in your soft life, soft mode, it's hard to know what to do. And here's what I mean by hard to know what to do. Because you now got to familiarize yourself with something that's unfamiliar.
right,
And if you've always lived in survival mode where everything you did was either last minute, um, you'll, the only time you really nursed yourself was when you went to the emergency room and you had no choice but to be down for 3 days because
right,
you had to go to the hospital. You know what I'm
right,
saying? When you finally get to a place where there is no drama, you don't really know what to do because you're not familiar with soft mode at all because you've never had a space in which you could be soft, right?
right,
So a lot of people think of soft mode as, oh, I'm gonna just go get a pedicure, I'm gonna go to the spa, I'm gonna go get my hair and nails done, and I'm gonna go treat myself to a shopping spree or a nice meal. That's a part of it, but that's just the surface level of it, right?
right.
That's inclusive of it, but that's not soft life in and of itself. And I'm gonna
No,
tell you, like when I
I feel like
first,
that's very, very tip. I'm gonna be real with you.
that's
I haven't. I've ate by myself one time in public like that, and girl, it was at the mall at the food court, and I was so uncomfortable sitting with myself. I didn't like it at all. At all. I was so uncomfortable.
I do it all the time. It's and I'm gonna be honest. Sometimes I prefer to eat by myself,
I mean, I like
but
to do it with my kids though.
yeah, but it's one of those things where you if you've never done it and then you go do it one time, it is extremely uncomfortable, right?
Yeah.
Because you think all eyes are on you when in reality they don't even see you.
Right.
People don't even You would be
Yeah.
surprised how much people don't see you in
I
public, right? You know
I
what I'm
agree.
saying?
I don't pay
And
attention to nothing. Like I'm oblivious to
right.
my
But
surroundings.
but half of the people, just like you don't notice it, they don't notice you. You know what I'm saying? A lot of
Right.
people, when they go somewhere, they only see what it is that they're looking for. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They only see what they're looking for. Nobody's out looking for the woman that's self-caring for herself tonight. You know
Right.
what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
True. Yeah.
They don't even notice you. And you think you look uncomfortable to weird to everybody else, and you don't. You're just uncomfortable because you've never done it. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? I recommend everybody do it until they get comfortable with it. The
I agree.
easiest way, I'll say this, for especially for those who's gonna watch this later. Here's a trick to eating by yourself. Go to a restaurant where there's a bar and sit at the bar,
Cool.
even if you don't drink alcohol, because it's something about sitting at that bar that is just, it's a little bit more quaint,
That
it's a
makes
little bit more intimate, and you kind of feel secluded without feeling exposed. And if somebody talks to you, that's great. If they don't, it's okay because you don't feel out in the open. It is very awkward for you to, if this is your first time, you go sit at a table in the middle of the restaurant. You know
right.
what I'm saying? That
Yeah.
is extremely like, whoa, whoa, out here too deep, too deep. You
Right.
know? So the way that you would break that in is sit at a bar if there's a restaurant, if you're at a restaurant, or if they have booths, go sit at a booth as opposed to a table in
Okay.
the middle of the floor, you know? And that'll help you get acclimated to to eating or having lunch or dinner by yourself or breakfast by yourself.
That makes sense.
um, Another Another way you can do that is you could either go somewhere really late at night, late in the evening, where it's not heavily populated. You know,
I
try
would,
that.
as a female, I wouldn't feel safe doing that.
No, I'm
Not
saying like go somewhere like somewhere like around 7, 8 o'clock to Applebee's and sit in the corner. You it if it's especially like if it's local, you know what I'm saying? Don't go at midnight, but you're talking to somebody who just drove to
right,
you're
right.
but you're also talking to somebody who just drove to PA to go to a restaurant that I like, but because it's not in Cleveland and PA was the closest one, and that's what I had a taste for, I got in the car and went.
Okay, I feel it.
So,
Yeah,
I made a 3 hour round trip drive just to go eat a
yeah.
$10 meal.
Oh,
But
cool. But no,
yeah, you know what I'm
I
saying?
understand the bigger picture is the more you do it, the more
Right. You know,
real. And some people's version of comfort is going to look different. Like you said, some might be at a table, some might be at a booth, some might be at a bar. It would like mine was at the food court because I'm like, I'm not going to be the only person at the food court sitting by myself.
right. Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
didn't feel as awkward at the food court sitting by myself. You know what I mean?
Well,
And
and then too, I
because I
just recently,
so I didn't feel as weird.
and then you got your bags. You can put your bags up on a table to hide your face. You know what I'm
I mean,
saying?
it wasn't that bad. It just, you know what I mean? See, I am more of a get in my car and just drive around and chill kind of person. That's how I unwind, especially when it's nice outside and I can open up my sunroof and my windows and just put music
Yeah.
on,
hmm
lean
But
back.
so to a soft mode era, part of, and I've talked to many people about this, part of being in your soft mode is when you are okay with moments of solitude, when
Yeah,
you are okay with it just being
I love my
you.
moments of silence. I'm
Mhm.
totally cool.
And sometimes that means when I normally would have three people with me doing this, I don't want three people. I
Yeah,
just want to do this by myself.
yep,
Meaning, when like we talked a little bit about, sometimes if it's a holiday and it's a whole bunch of people gonna be over here, you decide to spend the holiday at home, or you decide to spend the holiday with yourself. Um, when you decide to take moments of time where you would normally be with other people, you want to be with yourself, where you
right.
turn down invites. That's when you kind of entered your soft girl era, where you're in your soft mode, because you need that time to replenish you.
Yes,
You
yes,
look at moments of isolation as moments of replenishment,
yes.
not moments of like, oh my God, I need to call. You know what I mean? You don't like panic or
And
freak
you
out
find them
or go
through
into a
healing.
depression.
I mean, that peace comes from you healing and going
Yes.
through the healing process because you're, at least when I chose to heal, I did it by myself. I'm not saying
Yeah.
everybody should do that. That's just how I chose to do it. I spent last summer by myself and I did what I needed to do. And just like the first step says, I deepened my self trust because I chose myself. Um, and I learned that I had to stop second guessing myself, that my intuition was not insecurity. My intuition came from somebody changing a pattern. It made me aware of us, it made me aware. And that either engaged in a conversation that ended whatever is whatever, or you know what I mean? And that's when I decided, like, I was gonna stay in. I was going to not go out. I really didn't drink. I wanted to go through everything as clear minded as I possibly could at that time. Um, and I did where it talks about in part two, where it talks about clarifying your soft life vision. I decided that I knew what I wanted to do. Oh, hold on one second, guys.
Am I on
Mm,
twice?
yeah, hold on a second, because that's gonna mess up the audio. There we go. Okay, so I was just talking about the second part of when you start to clarify your soft life vision. I made my apart when I decided that I was going to stay home and heal. I made my space to where I was comfortable. I put stuff on the walls that I liked, like my records. I didn't care if, it wasn't the normal thing that a female should have on her walls or a normal thing that adults should show their collectibles. I didn't care. I made my space comfortable for me. And I started trusting my intuition. I started trusting myself to know that I was making the best decisions for me versus, you know, not trusting myself and not knowing the vision of where I wanted to go.
And here's the other, and you're right. And to piggyback off of that, I think at every point in which you have to revisit that, like it's okay to redefine it.
Mm-hmm.
After so many times of saying, okay, here's my stance, and then you keep running into turbulence or it gets railroaded, sometimes you have to go back and say, maybe I need to turn this thing around, or maybe I need to look at something
Right.
different. So I think at every point, you do have to go back to the drawing board and draw
Absolutely.
a different color, and
Right.
say, okay, you know
We're
what?
always going to self improve.
Yeah. And say, for that season of my life, it required this or it required that. But I'm now in another season. We're over that. I've exhausted that out. I need to learn something new. And
Right.
I
Just
think,
I don't need to be by myself this summer. I don't need to be in the house this summer like I was last summer. I can be around my friends and not be a bummer because I'm not healing anymore. I'm healed. You know what I'm saying?
right,
So my
right.
soft mode from last summer versus even my soft mode to this summer, and it took a year. I mean, not a
Yeah.
whole year, but like 6 or 7 months. But you know, I did.
And
I
and
feel like I did the work.
yeah, and you do it. So it does require you to kind of you can't get around focusing on yourself. You got to sit, and you got to sit with what worked. You got to sit with what didn't work, and you have to come back with something different. Like you
Right.
have to come back and say, okay, I used to do this, and this, but now I see that that doesn't work, and I'm going to change my mind and develop something different,
Yep.
right? And so it's kind of like, how can I put, like, so to your point, about, okay, so I'm better now. I made a decision that I can be more intentional about the things that I want. Being in survival mode, it'll make you think that you don't have what you need to go
Yes.
after what you want. You either don't have the energy, it'll cause you to see your resources differently, and you'll start to say, well, I don't have the resources to do that. Or you'll start to say, I don't have the means to do that. Or it'll talk you, survival mode will talk you out of almost having an interest in certain things. But once
Yeah.
you heal, your interest in those things will start to come back, right? And then
Yes.
that's when you say, all right,
You saw
here's my
how
interest in that.
once I started, entering mine, you saw how I had like
Yeah.
ideas bursting out of my brain because I was finally just at peace.
Correct. And so you'll notice that ideas will start to come back, your interests will start to come back. And then at that point, what you need to do is sit down and finalize it all. Say, okay, I'm interested in painting. So let me go and look and see who's doing painting classes this summer, who's doing painting sips this summer, who's
Girl,
doing
I have
that.
been
And you
talking to my
go
friend
and
about this all
register.
the time. I've been telling her, like, dude, you got to get a hobby. You got
Yeah.
to find something that you like to stay
Yep.
occupied. You can't
And
just
you,
home and stew in your own brain because the stuff that we
correct.
come up with is insane. The
Correct.
conspiracies that females concoct in our brains should be studied for life because we could put some puzzles together that are not going to be solved.
And here's the other part of that. To your point, why you have to get outside and get around other people is because the Bible says that iron sharpens iron. There are some parts of you that are not going to get better until you get around other people, so that they can sharpen that part of you that's dull. So
Okay.
you're not going to heal without people.
Okay.
You're not going to elevate without people. Now there's a component of healing that requires intimacy. It requires you to isolate. It requires you to step away from people. You can't get around it. You got to
Yeah,
do it.
do
But
it.
once you get that level done, you now got to go be around other people.
And
So that way,
that's the hardest level that people cannot get past is the being alone and just being in it. You know what I'm saying? Being in your ick, crying it out, or whatever that looks like to you, going to the gym, whatever. A lot of people cannot get through that. They get stuck at that. And then they start dating somebody too soon, or they start messing with their ex again. And then it ends up in that toxic circle where they end up right back where they started, like you said. And then you got to go back and say, okay, what did I do? What did I do wrong? You didn't give yourself enough time. If you're a woman, I can't speak for a man because I'm not a man, I don't know how that looks, but for a woman, correct me if I'm wrong, Miss Crystal, but I feel like if you've been in a relationship, I don't care about the length because that don't mean shit, but if you've been in a relationship and you really feel like that was your person, healing time for me, this was someone I was engaged to, was going to be married to, and just good god, it took me like 4 or 5 months to fully heal. I feel like, and I've gone through my whole life from relationship to relationship and not healed. So I know what it looks like now to fully be a healed human being. So someone that says they've done it in 30 days or something like that, I don't see somebody being able to heal that long. Especially if you've
you
been from a
know,
relationship to relationship kind of person at our age.
I say it depends on how long you were with the person.
You
Because
think,
some people have layers, have years of layers of stuff, versus some people like, well, I was only with that joker for 12 months, or versus
girl,
I was with him for
I was
15
hurt more
years.
by my year and a half relationship than I was by my 10-year relationship. Easily. Easy.
Right. So I think it just varies on the person, because what may have hurt somebody else to their core probably was just,
Yeah,
it was just an annoyance
you're right.
to somebody else. And I think it also depends on, um it depends on a person's mind state before
Okay.
the trauma. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
I think your mindset has a lot to do with how you process pain and how
Okay.
you process um heartache and heartbreak. You know what I'm saying? And then two, I think it determines, to your point, how
Yes.
often it has happened. You know what I'm saying? Because a person who, and I've said this before. So let's say we both trip and fall down the stairs at the same time, right? Same set of stairs, same flight of stairs. We both fall. I break my ankle. You break your arm. You fracture your both legs. You fracture your neck. You knock out all your teeth. Whose recovery gonna be the longest? Yours,
You
because
never
you
know.
have more
Everybody heals
damage.
different.
You had more. I only got a sprained ankle to recover from.
I
You
mean,
got to
I
get both
feel
your
like
legs.
I think that the difference is a little bit more dramatic though, because you know what I'm saying. Like
Well,
a sprained ankle
but
versus
the
I
point
just almost
was,
died in a car accident. You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, no, the point that I was trying to make is the degrees. I was trying to compare it
yeah,
to
no,
your
I
mental
feel what you're saying.
capacity at that
I know what
point.
you're saying.
So,
I felt like that was just a kind of a drastic.
like,
That's all.
Well, it depends on where you are mentally. Some
Yeah.
people are just they're extreme up here, and some people are more
Yeah,
real balanced where they can say,
that
you know
part.
what, it just didn't work. Like, you know
You're
what
right.
I'm saying? He tried to
Yeah,
step on some old stuff, but to your point, because I'm already healed, dude, I can call it quicker. I can call BS quicker and get
yeah,
out quicker, and I
yeah.
don't have to take it to heart. Versus when I thought you were the one for me, even though there were all kinds of flags, I still chose to believe. Now you're dealing with some so if for a woman who feels like she's already not worthy and then a dude leave her, she's gonna be spiraling for a while versus a woman who knows she is worthy and it just didn't work out. Then if I know I'm worthy and it just didn't work out, then I
Yeah,
can spring back in 30 days.
yeah, I guess you're right. I mean, I guess it does depend. I mean, I think it just boils down to all of it is the big pictures, like you said, just individually how everybody carries stuff.
Yeah.
Um, and I
But the
think,
other point on
yeah,
here, I'm sorry, go ahead, Shana.
I don't know. Go ahead.
The other point I hear was when we talked a little bit about it with surround yourself with intentionality, which is to your point when you said find yourself something to do. Even while you're healing, there is a small part of you that you need to focus on something else other than what happened. And
Absolutely.
you need to focus on something else other than how bad you hurt.
Oh, yeah,
And
for sure.
you know what I mean? And I've even said, hey, sometimes, and people say this is extreme. I personally don't think it's extreme. um I think it's a matter of you got to do what you got to do. So for those who were in relationship with people who had kids and the relationship ended and you still choose to be available for their kids, depending on how bad you're hurting, I think that's a bad idea because it's their kid, and so the conversations of them is going to come up, and I think you at least need to get to a healthy level before you start doing that again.
I think
If-
that I feel like us being both being moms, even though you have a girl and I have a boy, I feel like we'll both be on that level of that is such a touchy
it is.
and I've um I've only had that one gentleman that I dated that my younger son really connected with, and it was more too because we were also friends on and off throughout the years, and my younger son was really young when we met as well. But the communication always went through me. It was always,
Mhm,
hey, tell him I said hey, or is it okay if I tell him, or you know what I mean? So it was through my discretion. But that is such a like I would, that's such a touchy subject. But I do agree with you, and I've there's definitely been people in my circle or things that I was doing in my routine that I had to cut out when I started surrounding myself intentionally with things that I wanted to happen. You know what I mean? I had to change my mindset to go from I hope this happens to this is gonna happen. If I want it to happen, I gotta stop hoping it does because it's not gonna happen if I just keep hoping it. I gotta do it.
mhm,
So
mhm,
I made sure that I have definitely, especially like there's certain stuff that we both of us can't really talk about on here right now, maybe
mhm,
in a couple
mhm,
weeks, but I've definitely been working on, and so have you, making moves very intentionally. Um, whether it's studying for certificates, getting certificates like you did, you took some tests, you know, it I've noticed that the workforce has kind of come full circle back to it's no longer just about education. It's now also about experience again. For a long time, I noticed that it was just experience or education. But I've noticed on websites like on LinkedIn or whatever, or Indeed, that it's not just about education anymore. They also want people to have uh, experience. So I feel like when you're going through this phase, when you're, redoing everything intentionally, I do feel like it's important that, you're doing everything with the decision of this is going to improve my life. This is going to improve my path. It's going to make things better. You know what I mean?
And yeah, and to your point, that is inclusive of a soft life, like not just in
Yeah.
relationships, but even like in employment. What do you do to get your money? Like, is that something that is that killing your self-esteem? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, are you having a hard time?
Yep.
Are you having a hard time at work? Like the thing in which you sustain yourself, like I think it was you and it was somebody else that I was talking to about it. I said, it was a couple of us actually, and they were saying, why is it so hard sometimes? It's like, you get off of work and you come home and you don't have to get up and go to do what you need to do personally, and you don't have the to go. And I thought about it and thought about it and thought about it, and I came up with this. I said, if you're somewhere working 40 hours a week, and during the 40 hours a week you're being either made to feel like you're not good enough, your work isn't being acknowledged, you know what I'm saying? It's just really a hard place to work in. That
Well, yeah,
affects your
you,
self-esteem. That affects
you
your self-esteem
spend
too.
more time awake at work than we do awake at home.
Right. So if you
It's
are having a hard time 48 hours a day, you are having a hard time. You're frustrated 8 hours a day.
yes,
Where do you
ma'am.
think the energy is going to come from? You don't
Right.
just get happy all of a sudden now that you're not off work. That transcends into everything else that you do,
Right.
even when you get
Absolutely.
off of work. If I
Absolutely.
just spent if I just spent 8 hours arguing, cussing, fighting with someone, then I'm not gonna say, okay, it's time to go to the park. No, I'm exhausted. I don't want to go
I
to the
need
park. I
silence.
don't want to go get ice cream.
Right.
I don't
I
want to
need
go do any of that stuff.
Yeah, I need at least 30 to 45 minutes of silence. Working from
Well,
home is hard because you don't really get that drive home anymore. You got to kind of transition from work mode into home mode, but I get my silence. I get it.
no,
Even if
but
it's 15, 20 minutes, I get it after work. I got to.
but 40 hours a week of constantly being told
I know.
that you're not it 30 minutes after work ain't gonna help that. It
No,
just
but what
ain't.
I'm saying, what I'm saying, is, no, what I mean is, it just, I feel like that wind down part is going to be a lot of places that you work, you know what I mean? But no, I'm agreeing. Like we're at work more than we are at home awake, and it's like a toxic relationship that you're in.
Yeah.
And it gets to a point where, you fight. I don't, everybody's time spans are different, but you just get to that point where you can't do it no more. You are absolutely done. Um, and you know, I feel like that kind of goes with the what I just posted about taking care of your inner customer like yourself, and knowing,
Mhm.
you know, I'm working somewhere that's toxic, or I'm in a toxic relationship, or I'm in this. What could I maybe do? Because some people like
Some
myself
people like.
are not good with conflict or
Mhm.
confrontation. So we don't always know how to resolve it. You know what I mean? And so sometimes I'll have to go to one of my friends who I know is a little bit more level headed, or that I trust, and say, hey, this is what I'm thinking. Is this the right thing? Is this how you see it? Um, and so what I did was I put a list together of some that we tend to do to ourselves versus stuff that maybe we could do to help offset the negative, just to get us in a different way of thinking, like you said, changing with the change, we're moving with intention. And I do the first thing, and me and my girlfriends this weekend, we're talking about it. You say yes to everything. When someone asks you if you want to do something, if you want to do an event, or if you want to volunteer, the my first instinct, I always say yes because I want to be nice. And as soon as the word comes out my mouth, the S of yes, I'm like, I didn't want to do that, and I direct the
Yeah.
whole. And
Yep.
so I liked the part where it talked about, instead of saying yes to everything, take some time and think about it first, and then set your boundaries so that you can protect your time, your energy. It's okay to say no, or say, you know what, I'm not sure. Um, Let me get back with you. Um,
Mm-hmm.
which automatically goes into the next one, which is, if you're saying yes to everything, you're ignoring your own needs. You're not putting yourself first because you're putting everybody else first outside of your kids. You're dismissing everything that, makes you feel good, versus us prioritizing our own needs, checking in with ourselves and saying, did I have a good day? Did that's one of the things I always like when we talk to each other, because it's like, hey, how was your day? Or, what's going on? And even if we both had good days, it's just nice to have that conversation,
Mm-hmm.
just the interaction of had a good day. Um, and I feel like the neglecting of self care is so real. Um, so real. Everything about it is forms of depression that people don't acknowledge. Not washing your hair, not wanting to brush your teeth, not wanting to do the simple things that people do, that is depression, and it is neglecting your self-care. And
It's like self abandonment, you
it,
know. And one of
it
the things that
absolutely,
I've had to say to myself is, while I'm experiencing something that hurts, while I'm experiencing something that I don't like, while I'm experiencing something that is very painful, I'm not going to self abandon.
absolutely,
I'm still worthy, even though this situation is painful, even though the situation sucks. I'm
yes,
still worthy. So
absolutely,
I do still need to get in the shower, and I
absolutely.
can put on my makeup, and I can put on something cute,
Getting your nails
and
done,
still
or
I can
do,
still do this while I'm
yes,
experiencing something that is painful, or while I'm experiencing something that hurts, because I'm still worthy. And it's really called self-abandonment when you start
yes,
to check out like that. I know all too much about that, unfortunately. And I've had to say, no, yeah, this sucks. And no, I don't feel good, but I'm not going to self abandon. You know what I
that's right.
mean? I'm
Yes,
just,
yes.
I can't do
Right,
it.
because that's part of us. Like the next one, where it's talking about living in survival mode. You making that decision is us not living in survival mode anymore. It's part of us being in soft mode. We know we don't have to do that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
We can,
Mm-hmm.
dude, nobody's gonna not forgive us if we don't mop the floor every day at 5:30.
Listen
Nobody's
here.
gonna get mad at us if there's a cup left in the sink, or if,
Mhm.
I don't know, but I get super annoyed when someone puts trash in my trash can in the bathroom that's not super small. Because you know how your trash in the bathroom is like really small?
Yep.
Why are
Mm-hmm.
you putting an empty shampoo bottle in that trash can?
Mm-hmm.
So
My goodness.
I had to, like, once I started like getting into soft mode, I had to laugh at myself. Like, does it really matter? This trash can's in here. At least my kid put it in the trash can.
At least he put it in the trash can. Yeah.
Right. So,
And I've had to say that too. Like, okay, no, you know what? You're not about to argue about that today.
yeah, it's
You're
stupid.
just not going
It's
to say nothing about that today.
right. It's slowing down, like you said, moving with purpose. We're choosing where we're spending our energy. We don't have to be in fight or flight mode anymore. It is not that serious. Which goes right into the next one of being too hard on yourself. And I know I am I mean, we all say it, but I definitely know that I am my biggest critic. I am very, very hard on myself. I have my friends and people tell me all the time that I'm super hard on myself, um, that I hold myself to ridiculous standards. But I get that because I watched my mom and she held herself to ridiculous standards and she did.
Mm,
So I know it's possible because I watched her do it.
mhm, mhm,
Then the one of I when I went to therapy years ago, my therapist was like, I told her, I was like, I feel like I'm failing as a mom because I have some friends that are baking cookies for their kids and baseball. We talked about that on the first episode, and it was like, it's okay to not be that parent, and it's okay, like it says, you got to be kind to yourself.
mhm,
It's okay that I
mhm,
went and bought store baked cupcakes versus baked them myself for the Christmas party or whatever the scenario is.
mhm.
And I'm not always kind to myself. I am still my biggest critic, but it's not as bad as I used to be.
Mhm.
I've definitely I think I've lightened up on myself.
Well, I think that's going to be an ever evolving thing
Mhm.
because once we master one level and then we become entry level at the next level, we're gonna
Yep.
have to repeat that process all over again. Like, no, no, no. You're allowed to not know this. You're allowed to study at your pace. You're allowed to get this. You know what I'm saying? I think that self-talk will never go away. I think we will always have to talk ourselves through something. You know what I
Okay.
mean?
Yep, I agree. Um, and I think that goes in with the next one of not checking in with yourself.
Yeah.
It talks about the negative is you ignore your emotions and you push through instead of listening to our our intuition. Again, we think we start being insecure. We forget that we know not every little thing, right? But the stuff that is common sense to us, or the things that let us know something is wrong. Um, and I've been able to several times, and I will say this: my relationship has tested me with the check in and get honest check more than ever in my life, because even though I healed from my previous relationship, like a typical female, if a pattern changes even for a second, I'm like, what's going on? What I do? What's happening? You know what I'm saying? And there has been several times where, especially lately, because as time goes by, you learn from your experience, you learn from your speed bump, right? And it's like, okay, stop. You're checking, reality check, you're tripping. Or reality check, you're not tripping. Whatever the scenario is, either way. Um, but I really, when I read this, I really liked that it said that to check in and be honest with yourself, and to be able to say, am I really listening to myself? Am I giving myself what I need to continue in this soft era that I want to continue in?
Correct. Correct.
Um, the last one, I definitely do this. I definitely seek validation outside of my thinking, because like this says, it says you rely on others' approval to feel worthy instead of honoring your value. I don't know if I do it to feel worthy. I don't do it to feel worthy, but I do seek validation on stuff that I might not be sure if I'm looking at it from the right perspective. You know what I'm saying? I like to get feedback on, hey, this situation is this situation, and I'm looking at it from this. How do you look at it?
Right.
And then make sure that I'm not reacting like I'm in survival mode, right? Making sure that I'm not reacting the wrong way. Um, and I liked also, to the opposite side of seeking validation was choosing yourself daily. Being worthy of your own love, time, and attention. I like that because it goes back to you saying, you spending your time with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure that you're taking care of yourself, that your cup is getting filled, because we're giving it out every day to kids, our coworkers that we help. If I open the door for someone, I just gave you a teardrop out my cup, so I need
Yep.
to get back.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And I like where it also says that you have more to give from a place of joy, not depletion, which is correct. Because this is not the same example mentally, but physically. When I was going, I volunteered to go in the office to train. It didn't bother me, but I was very uncomfortable with the furniture that was there. I'm like, it just tore my body down, girl. I'm used to sitting in a nice chair. Them chairs were
Mm-hmm.
like cardboard and metal. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and it was like I started to get, every day that went by, I started to get agitated because my back was irritated, my leg was agitated. I wasn't comfortable. So when I was training, I was trying to be mindful and not reply to things because you're sitting next to the person you're training. I didn't want to respond in an agitated way because I didn't want
Right.
the person I was training to think it was them. So it got to the point that Thursday I was supposed to go in on Friday, and I was like, no, I'm not coming in.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to do it, or someone else. I'm not doing it because if I go in, at that point, I'm gonna be super uncomfortable and I'm gonna be rude to anybody that even looks at me sideways. So let me keep my ass at home.
Yeah.
$300 chair versus these $25 2-hour sitting chairs. Um, Sorry, rant mode. And then, but the same. It's like I couldn't give to somebody when I was depleted.
Right.
I
Mm-hmm.
can give to somebody when I'm replenished and I'm comfortable and I'm coming from a good place. Um, and again, where it says, we need to know that our matters, our needs, all of that stuff, our well-being, it's important to us. We know that we're worthy. We know that um, anything that we feel is an issue, it's an issue. Whether our friends think
And
it's
it could be an issue for you and not be an issue for anybody else. And as long
that's
as
right,
it's an issue for you, then it really is
right.
an issue.
That's right.
It really is an issue.
I
So
think I think it's super important that people, it's okay to listen to our friends and talk to our friends and stuff, but you have to, that last call you got to make on your own. You got to make sure that you're following what makes you happy, what you want, what is needed, not versus what everybody is telling you to do.
yep, that's it.
Yep,
And I
I
think
have.
once you do that in every single area, you have officially entered your soft life. So I don't want, the ladies to think that we're only referring to relationships and self. We're referring to every area of your life that
Your
requires you.
friendships.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it
And a
could
lot
be
of times your
job,
occupation,
everything.
um, you have to apply that there. And a lot of times we disconnect. We kind of um decompartmentalize or
Mhm.
compartmentalize things, and that's how you always end up in a snag or in a jam, and that's
Mhm.
how stuff ends up not being fully dealt with because you're compartmentalizing stuff. When this applies to family, this applies to your soft life, applies to your family, your soft life applies to your kids, it
Absolutely.
applies to your job, it applies to everything. You can't just
Absolutely.
limit your soft life to, well, I didn't get into an argument with anybody today and I went and got my nails done. It's
Right.
so much,
Absolutely. If you go
you
right,
know.
because if you go home and your house is not in order and your house is in survival mode, you can't enter your space now in soft mode. You're going from soft mode from getting your nails done in your car to chaos in your house, and now you're uncomfortable again. And it can start one place, but you're right. It has to go across the board. It has to be within yourself, within your relationships, your friendships, your job. Every aspect of it is, and I can even say, I'm in a soft mode with my space. I'm in soft mode in my relationship. I'm in soft mode with my friendships. But I'm in survival mode in other areas. So I'm currently working on getting in soft mode in those areas. Um, and everything we talked about, you're right. It goes to employee, because you can look at it, the relationship that you have with your employer. If the relationship that you have with your employer is causing, now, and I'm not saying that the relationship that I have with my employer is causing this, before I get, what I'm saying, but if you work, or if you feel this way, where your employer is making you say yes to everything, that you're not comfortable saying no, that's a problem. Then you're in survival mode at work. If you're neglecting your self-care because you're working too much overtime, or you're getting burnt out and you're ignoring your needs at work, or you're being too hard on yourself, you're being too critical, all of that is survival mode at work, not just in a relationship.
Or if you feel like nothing about this job makes me happy, and I'm always in a knot every time I start work, or every time I prepare for work, or and not even that they're doing anything at your job to bother you. It's just, it's not a good fit for you.
Absolutely.
And but you're just like, yeah, but I got to work. Like, if you can't take time to try to plan a pivot, or plan to do something else, like, you're in survival mode when you feel like you're stuck.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
So if it's, they could be perfectly fine for you, but you're like, you know what, this isn't enough money, I know I could be making more money, or I need more exposure to something else, or I no longer desire this line of work. i really
Right.
would like to I really would like to go into nursing, but
Right. Or whatever
no,
yep.
but you don't want to, take that step. When you settle, you are literally in survival mode when you're settling.
Yep. I agree. And like you said too, even when it comes to your kids, if you're in
Yeah.
survival mode with your kid, and a lot of single mothers, and you can speak for this, a lot of single mothers that don't have a support system are in survival mode, because you don't
Yes.
have, and I'll even say this for the single moms out there who do have a support system, but are still the majority carriers of it. When you don't get that break that the other parent is getting, and it's 24/7, and you're the only one dealing with it, that's survival mode. And now I will say this, and I can say it to you, my friend, because your daughter is younger. Soft mode does come in the mom and kid phase.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah,
you.
and
Somebody else said that too. Like, oh, just
say this, for a mom of boys, middle school is rough. It's rough anyways, but middle school right now, I would say this to any parents that may be watching or will watch, that has a middle schooler or a child who will be going to middle school. Research the middle school that you are sending your kid to. Look up the cyberbullying, the online bullying, if the administration is paying attention to bullying, the bus situation, if the bus drivers are reporting bullying. I mean, it is bad. It's bad. And I will tell you one school that a lot of people are putting their kids into where I live. A lot of people are pulling their kids out of the area I live in, and they're putting them in Coventry. out
Mm.
by where I live, and it's like very close to where I live. I have several friends who have put their kids in Coventry in high school. So I'm not sure how the middle school looked, but even the high school has been a big improvement from what I'm hearing. So I would just say to really, really research the middle school that you're going to send your kid to.
So, so guess what? Because we want our kids to live in their soft life too.
Because middle
We
school
want
for
our
me
kids.
is no joke, dude. Middle school
We
for
want
my
our
younger
kids to
one.
live in their soft life too.
Mm-hmm.
But this was a good one, y'all.
Because
Thank
we
y'all
can't
for
live in
listening
our
and
soft
joining.
life if they're not living in their soft life. If they're in survival mode, we're going to be in survival mode. We're around them.
That's true. That's true.
But
Well,
yes,
as
this
usual,
was a good show.
it was.
I have everything again. I have all the stuff on here posted on the YouTube channel, like that we weren't, that we don't have time to go into detail and talk about. It's also posted on the website. I know that a lot of people are watching live on Facebook usually, or go back and watch it on Facebook. But if you guys wouldn't mind, or if you are watching on YouTube, if you wouldn't mind hitting the like button, hitting subscribe, and then liking the lives and the videos, we would greatly appreciate it. Again, we're just looking for anything to help with the quality of the stuff that we can use for streaming and the quality of our microphones and our cameras and stuff. So, if we get subscribers and stuff, that helps out. If anybody has a idea for a show, feel free to email us, feel free to message me and or Crystal.
Please.
You can do it anonymously. You can ask to be mentioned, but we can talk about literally anything you want. It doesn't even have to be stuff that we've covered. We can talk about whatever you guys want to talk about.
Yeah, we'll like research stuff too. So,
Yeah,
um,
like we put a lot of work into these as far as like the stuff we talk about and how we organize it, and making sure that it serves a purpose for you guys. So, and as always, we appreciate anybody that watched or anybody that's gonna watch. Thanks. And again, this was our fifth show, so that's what's up. And
yay.
we'll see you guys next Tuesday.
See you guys next Tuesday.
We hope you enjoyed the show. Please hit the like and subscribe button. Stay blessed.